Hello and welcome to On the Wrist. Today I'm excited to bring you a review of the Tockr D-Day C47. This is a watch that has a dial made from the literal hull of the That's All brother, which was the aircraft that led the formation of 800 other planes that dropped approximately 13,000 US paratroopers onto the beaches of Normandy during D-Day in World War II. This watch literally carries a piece of history inside it, and it's a really cool use of that hull. The sections taken from the hull had to be removed to be repaired, and a portion of the proceeds from the sale of each watch goes back to the Commemorative Airforce to help restore the That's All brother. So it's really cool that this watch not only carries a piece of American history, but allows it to live on. But more on that in a minute. This is On the Wrist. Let's get right into it. Before we get started, I just want to mention that this was sent to me by Tockr for review. It will be going back to them afterwards. Tockr is a brand born in Austin, but made in Switzerland. All the design work is done in the US, however they do manufacture their watches in Switzerland, as you can see with the Swiss made on the dial. So as I mentioned, this watch has a literal piece of history built into the dial. Every single one will be unique, as they're cut from the hull. No two pieces of the hull is the same. There are 4 different options you can pick from as far as to what sort of sections the hull is cut from. There is the clean cut, the hard worn, the striped, which is what this is, and then the stamped, which actually typically has lettering or numbering, but those are unfortunately all sold out for those interested. Each one will be 100% unique, and what's really nice is part of the proceeds of this watch go to the restoration of the That's All brother. The sections that the dial are made out of needed to be removed to be repaired, so that way it can be a functioning flying airplane flown by the Commemorative Airforce of Central Texas. What's really cool about this one is you can just see the different textures of the dial. That paint sort of stripped off in the upper corner there. You can see scratches just on near the date window from the plane, and just the paint is a really cool color of green, highlighted excellently by this orange plain secondhand that is flying around the dial. Really great detail, and it's just, the orange makes this watch pop. This is a watch you really need to see in multiple lights because it is such a dynamic dial. Let's change the lighting now. You can see in different lights the color of the dial changes. The amount of the steel you can see underneath differs, and that orange becomes more and more prominent the less light. You can see there that better represents the actual color of the hand. But let's dive into the technical specs really quick. The diameter is 42 millimeters with a cushion style case. The thickness is probably about 14. It doesn't list the specific, but it's around that area. It has an ETA 2834-A6 movement with a 40 to 42 hour power reserve. The crown is not screw down, but it is a sort of large stylistic crown and offers 50 meters of water resistance. And the case is 316L surgical grade stainless steel, crystal, sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. The watch does come with 2 straps as well as a commemorative box. The loom for this watch is quite good. I love the fact that the airplane itself is loomed up. Really cool to see that flying through the dark. So one thing that's really cool about this watch is the case back. It's a solid case back, but it references the That's All brother Commemorative Airforce with the serial number of the watch. Each of these is a limited edition. Obviously there's a limited amount of material they can purchase. And it's just a nice solid case back. The strap is quick release. The strap I have shown here is not the strap offered on the website. The strap on the website is a green woven material as well as a leather strap. It comes with 2 straps. So this strap is not the one you will receive. However, I would highly recommend getting something similar to this. I think the color combination is excellent. The shape of the case is something I really enjoy. I love the highly polished surfaces. It's a nice contrast to the worn dial from an aircraft that's 70, 80 years old. The seconds hand I just love. I love that it is a plane flying around. I think that is just such an excellent design detail, and I've always enjoyed flashes of orange on the indicators, just to add a flash of color on these green watches. And even the font that they've chosen for the for the hour markers as well as the date. Really cool font, something you don't see very often. A lot of nice attention to detail into this watch. And let's get a couple shots on the wrist. Here we have it on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. Really comfortable, and I have to say, even though it's 42 millimeters in diameter, it has such a tight lug to lug there that you could easily wear this with a much smaller wrist. Incredibly comfortable, nice wrist presence. I really like how it looks. No complaints about how it wears or how it looks, honestly. I really am enamored with this piece. So, MSRP and value. MSRP of this watch is $1,990. That is a hefty price tag, and we're certainly into the entry-level luxury, if not luxury category. So what are you getting for that price? You're getting an ETA movement, sapphire crystal, so solid case back, but really what you're paying for with this watch in particular is the piece of the That's All brother. This watch is a piece of history in itself, and that is the value you're really paying for. If this did not have that part of the dial, I would think that this watch is not worth anywhere close to that. But really the value of this watch comes to if that is important to you, if you want a piece of American history. I think this watch, the design is well executed. Everything about it feels high quality. It feels comparable to the quality of my OntheWrist or my Mule glass shoe. Excellent quality. So no skimping there. One thing I will knock them for is it is only 50 meters of water resistance. I feel like they could have brought that up to 100 by doing either a screw down crown or something. Not that you would probably take this watch in the water, but it's just something that I typically like to see, especially at this price point. So in conclusion, I think this watch is incredibly well made, the design is well executed, but what you're really paying for is that piece of American history in the piece of the hull from the That's All brother that makes up the dial. That you will have to decide how much it matters to you as far as value goes. But I want to know what you guys have to say. Let me know down in the comments below. Is this a fair asking price? Do you like the idea of owning a piece of history? What about this would you want to change to see it be worth $2,000? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. That's all for me today. This has been On The Wrist. Thank you for watching.